Hi, this is Marisa, and I'm live streaming PSVR Frank's room right now. And it's good to see you. Welcome to this stream. What we're going to go over today is, so far we actually have two rooms kind of like being built right now. A lot of this is still in the progress of changing, but we got a lot of stuff done. Also, I just want to note that I have some people working on this room as well with me, like Dead Memes, Mr. Bird, Unique, and Weberly. And also Nectato. So we're just building out two rooms. The inside room will be a really fun room where you can just mess around and hang out in a unique space. The room is based off of Pee Wee Herman, but not everything is going to be exactly like that. We're going to have a lot of interesting things that relate to Frank PSVR's shows and himself, and and when you go into the house, which would be another room, which would be a sub room, it will be kind of like a lot of unique individual experiences, such as stuff like this. So it'll be really, really cool, and might be like a little puzzle in there and so forth. But right now I'm trying to build out some trees, so we're going to be like going over some trees. I know my last stream that someone mentioned they wanted to learn how to actually build out some trees in unique forms and so forth. So I'm going to like teach a little bit of that today, and if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat, and I'll see if I can get to them. All right, take a look at my comments real quick. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and edit this. Right now I am building out kind of like a general tree right now. I have this one kind of like this funky, goofy looking tree going on. I got some like mushrooms and got some kind of like contrast of shapes and stuff in there. Trying to keep it really simple but unique as well. So this is all using kind of like the tube shapes here. You think this is a ribbon, but this is actually a small thin tube, and then this is another tube here. So the tubes actually don't take up that much space. They used to take up a lot of space, but they have been updated where they don't actually take up that much space. So I would actually recommend building with them. So how I actually went out about building that tree is that go to my tube settings here. Now on the large tube setting, and you have your tube settings right here in your settings, right? So you have tube and ribbon size. So when you're using the ribbon, you can also adjust that for the ribbon. But you can see how small it gets as I go down further and further. You can also like the tube height scale, so you notice that it actually changes shapes just like so. And then you can see that it goes down into the points, so tube ring point size. As you can see, like goes up and more so. Like you can make some pretty unique things. So when I'm actually right now I'm on uniform shapes, so I'm getting a lot of like really straight angles. You can make some really, really cool stuff with this. So if I just drop my trigger, it will just stay that way, but because I have connected tubes, you can see how it automatically connects to the tube. So you can just like go ahead and connect that real quick. And you notice that if I release the trigger very slowly, it goes thinner. So you kind of get that like really nice look. Now, if it's not straight, what you could do also, you can go to manipulate on your maker pen and then just kind of like move it around. So you can make these like really unique forms. You can make some pretty awesome artwork as well. I would actually recommend like really experimenting with this. If you guys haven't experimented, you can make a lot of really cool things with the tube, and also you can do a lot with typography as well. How many of you actually use the tube at all? All right. I'm gonna go in here, and you can see like this tree is just pretty basic. I notice like a lot of people make the mistake when they make these trees. They tend to, if I go into edit here, they tend to, let's just move these pieces out of the way. They'll clone this piece and just kind of like that. We're gonna put this back on the grid system real quick. There we go. Alright, so they'll have a more wider gap between the trees, and you notice that it kind of looks really funny that way. The best way to do this is just to scale. As it gets higher into the point, you want to scale it down. So there's like kind of like this kind of uniform shape where it's leading up to a point. And you can see that looks like a lot better. That's a really easy way of making a tree like that. Now, to actually add these kind of details, these are just wedges kind of like placed into the tree. Now, wedges actually take up a lot more space in your room. What you can do is just go ahead and I'd be kind of like worried about using so many wedges, but you can add little details just like so. You can like make them different sizes, and you can color them so they get like this kind of like nice stick kind of look. As you can see, kind of brings out a little more wood look instead of a more structure look, so it looks more, it's not necessarily, I would say, organic looking, but it kind of brings more character to the piece. Now if you want to go into more details, go into, we can actually kind of adjust this a little bit. And right now I'm off snap, so I'm just kind of like playing just a little bit, but I kind of want to get this like really nice curve here. I'm just kind of like playing with it a little bit, seeing what it looks like. Just trying to give it some more character. Okay, so this does, scale this down. Getting there, it's getting there. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. But yeah, as you can see, like the points are like popping out, but that's okay. Definitely cover those up. I'm not too worried about that right now. There we go. Scale. Some more character. There we go. Go back into edit. Clone. Alright, just thinning these out just a little bit. But as you can see, it like kind of gives you a general idea. I'm gonna bring this stump in. Press and done and move this down. You can do a lot with like just like kind of like have uniform trees and just different types of like organic shapes there. So I'm gonna take a look at my comments here. I'm on a PC. I do work on the Vive. Yeah, I would make a cool suit of armor, but at the moment I don't really need to put that in that room, and plus that's like maybe like a 2-hour project. But at the moment, because I had such a variety of people asking me to create some trees because they were like concerned about how they could create them in Rec Room, I'm just doing a small demonstration at the moment, and then I can show you some pretty good examples on how to create a suit of armor. So right now I made this completely out of tube, just like I showed you with this tube example. So basically I'm going to go into done real quick. Go ahead and grab my tube shape, go into settings, let's see. Oh yeah, I want to be on this one. 10 points. I definitely want a different color. So I'm gonna, as you can see when you like flip it up, you can do this side, but right now I'm on uniform shapes. Every time like I stop using my maker pen, it creates a new form. I don't want that, so I just did undo there because it's not fitting the tree style. It does help to take a look at trees before designing them. I would actually look at 3D art trees because they're more simplified. If you have ever drawn trees, like sketched trees out, you probably understand like their forms pretty well just to dive deep into it. It's fine. But like if you layer them, you can kind of get these kind of really nice tree forms there. Bark, I like to call it bark. I'm probably gonna go into selecting all of these and merging them together. When you merge your shapes together, they actually save a lot more space. Go ahead and manipulate this over. Alright, just kind of like giving this some type of uniform. I'm going to branch this one out like a branch a little bit. Playing with the pieces here. I'm going to move this one up. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my tube again, connect it to this one, and squish it just a bit. Ooh, I'm going to do that one. Oops, did not mean to do that. Oops. It does take some practice. Ooh. There we go. That's what I wanted. Alright. Do that one with this one. I'm going to be kind of quick about it. Go. Right, so you can see how it's starting to look like that tree. We do need to do some modifying because it is a little weird. But you can touch these points up. Let's see here. Might just keep it like just like so. Right. Now I'm going to add some different pieces. I'm just actually going to create some smaller ones. So I'm going to go back to my settings and then go down into these shapes. So okay, I have that one. Just undo draw. Okay. Scale. Scale is just a little bit here. Alright. Actually, I'm gonna move that out just so slightly there. And then I'm just gonna add this branch over here. Oops. Go ahead and do that. Go into edit. And then move it. Wait. Oh yeah, move it. There we go. Alright. So now that we're done with that, delete that. We can add some branches on top of it. So we can do here. Well, actually first of all, I forgot a step. So some of these are actually different groups, as you can see, but what we're going to do is we're going to merge them together. It's important to merge because it saves a lot more space in your room. And when you merge, you're going to see these three little dots that pop up. Go ahead and like click over those and you can actually merge shapes. I'm going to take a look at my comments real quick. Oh, hello, Jade. Welcome to our chat. Good to see you. If you guys haven't actually been to Jade, Quest of the Jade, I would actually really recommend it. It's her rooms. You can get an actual special item that you can wear in the game. If you guys haven't done that quest yet, each of the YouTuber special promo YouTuber rooms will all have an item that you guys can get in the game. And PSVRfrank will also have a special item. I can't tell you what that item is, but you'll be able to get it once the room is done. You'll be able to have it. All right. And go ahead and push this up a little bit. So basically I created some flat spheres, and the reason why I did that is to kind of give a little more variation between the leaves. So I don't want to create a whole bunch of leaves because that takes up too much space in the room, and it would possibly crash other players because there's so many shapes. But creating a mass shape that generally represents a lot of individual leaves usually communicates well that this is a tree and those are leaves. So what I'm going to do is just mesh this into the bottom here, and just kind of like play it out just a little bit more. You see that kind of looks weird, right? That looks really strange. I'm just going to bring this in just a little bit, flatten it out, push it like so. I'm probably going to create another branch over here, which is fine. So I'm going to actually build this out just a little bit. It looks like it will stay quite balanced. So when I'm creating this shape, I'm looking for like kind of like organic and balance. So it looks pretty good. But right now it's not that balanced, so I'm going to add some things. Go ahead and push this up pretty well. There we go. Just kind of like just playing with it a little bit usually helps. There's like no straight rules on these things. Just try to keep a variety of different shapes and sizes, and try to stay away from using the same shape over and over. Try to keep a variety of shapes, but you know, you can still keep same shapes too, but it's best to keep some variety within the group because it just looks more natural and less repetitive. Alright, it's looking good. I kind of like these little sticks taken out. So another little thing that you can do is if you go in here, we're going to create a sphere. Right. If you like this down. Right. And then we're going to do a pyramid. And scale this down. And whenever I'm scaling, I always deselect snap because it works a lot better when you're trying to scale. Go ahead and push that within this part here. Give it a little nice leaf look. And then I'm going to select these two shapes. Oh, I guess I didn't select them. Go back into select. There we go. Deselect that. Kind of looks legit. And then I could add a little branch here sticking out. Scale this. Alright, looking good. Alright, now what I'm going to do is going to go back into clone, and I created these little shapes here, right? Created this little shape. So I'm going to go back into edit. Clone. Oh, I guess I didn't edit. Clone. Here we go. Going to move this here. Yeah. That looks really cute. All right, so back over here. I'm not really liking how that is going, so I'm not going to actually use that. It looks too weak to carry all those branches up there. Go ahead. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't flow naturally, it doesn't feel like. So what I want to do is like add a stump that kind of like branches from here and then goes up. So that's what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to have to create a new one. So I'm going to go back into tube settings. There we go. Okay, I have 3 points on here that I can edit. So here I go. Alright, need to make it look like it's flowing properly. So what I'm trying to do is get this edge of this stump here. So like the edge of that is not quite connecting to that, so it looks kind of like jagged. It's kind of what I want. And then I'm going to go back into manipulate. And I could straighten this out, bring this down. Maybe I want to straighten this out just a little more. Nope, that's good. Yeah, it looks pretty legit. Alright, so now this bottom of the stumps are looking a little strange, so I'm going to push this back in. There we go. So now we have a really nice tree. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and scale this. Oh wait, undo. So you notice that still got some pieces laying around. Definitely want to clean those up. Want to select and merge everything for sure. So I'm going to merge these. And then I'm going to scale this up here. Go ahead and bring this over. Probably going to be over here. Yeah. Alright. That looks kind of strange. This part right here, I don't really like how that's looking, so I might change that. Alright. Yeah, I think I will change that. So, go back into edit. I'm just gonna flatten this out a bit. Alright, great. Still a little bit more I can do with this tree here. I'm just gonna leave it as. Alright. Honestly, I think like this part could be brought down a little bit more, but I probably won't be digging into that too much. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. To create palm trees, hold on, take a look at my. Right? So long on a try. No, I just get caught up into it, you guys. Come on. Alright, I will not try to spend too long on it. Okay, what I'm going to go back to doing is I'm back on uniform shapes. I'm going to push this out. Do this. Right now I'm going to try to make the palm tree here just like so. Go ahead and scale that in. Wait, definitely want to get off of that. I'm going to go into more of a smaller cylinder there. I'm building it pretty large right now because I'm going to scale it down a little bit later. But I'm going to try to build this pretty quick here because I did spend a little bit long on that tree. And I probably should have just not spent that long on that tree. Alright, gonna go. Okay. Just pressing this. So what I'm doing with the palm tree, like a lot of the palm trees have these kind of like interesting look. There's so many ways you could actually create palm trees. You could do it with triangles. It's really a common way of doing it, just like this one is using triangles. But this is a very flat kind of illustration here. You could actually go full-blown fixed height and width and just bring it all the way up into different colors, and then moving out into the separate forms. But this is using cylinders. So it's basically whatever you think is looks like a palm tree. You can also use tubes too, but I find them that they don't have the proper shapes, but they do save space. So that's why probably people are using tubes to create the palm trees. All right. Great. So what we could do is recolor this. We're going to color this orange. So like that's a really nice orange color there. And then get on some coconuts here. Select and scale. And then you can bring out some, there's like a lot of ways to do the top part here. So, I would say probably use branches. Could use the tube. So we do the tube. We want to make sure it's a thin size tube. So you can see here, we're going to go back into shapes, go back into colors. I definitely want to get off of uniform shapes, so I'll deselect uniform shapes. Oh, okay, that's looking pretty interesting. I didn't really want to go that direction. I'm going to undo that. Do that. There we go. A little bit more. Okay. Go ahead and move this up. Go into edit. Create. No, it's not going to connect. Dang. Could still use this. I'm going to elongate this a little bit. See that there's like a lot of different shapes in here. Move that closer. Move this point closer. And closer. Looks a little weird. Okay, I'm just going to redraw this. I'm going to go create. It's a little bit better. I'll draw another one just in case. Kind of like that one more. Alright, so I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to redraw it. So what I want is to create the smaller part here. So I'm going to draw this. I'm going to connect it. Go back down. There we go. So now we have a really nice kind of shape there. I'm going to stretch it kind of fix the shape here by using my manipulation tool here. Alright, there we go. Go ahead and move this. Oh yeah. So we definitely want to go back into edit And then delete this shape, and then move this shape towards this part. So I'm just making it look like a palm tree. There's like a lot of different types of palm trees. I'm not going to say like this is like a specific type of palm tree because it's probably not. There's a lot of different species of trees, so this probably represents a different type of species of trees, or it just doesn't exist probably. But I would just say this is probably the traditional palm tree, I would say. But go ahead on there and probably fix it up even a little bit more here. Alright, so that looks kind of weird, so we're going to scale these down. And it's probably like best to use like different sizes of leaves, so you could draw different sizes and so forth. Say that's like the traditional palm tree. And what we could do here, since we have all this done now, we're going to go to select. Bring this up. Edit. Select. Point. Scale. Go ahead and back into edit and delete. Scale. Can make this a little bit longer, give it a little more like character and stuff. But then now here I am like spending a little bit longer on a tree when I shouldn't be. Right? So you can get some pretty good shapes here. Clone. Go even more in detail here. Scale it down just a little bit. Go back into edit and then select all these pieces here. Got some weird looking palm tree there. And some does look quite dramatic. And some of them are, honestly, but we can just scale that down just so slightly. Yeah, there we go. Yep. So it's just like a matter of just playing around with different shapes. To create different styles. Like this one is using the tube here, and then I created the forms over it, so it's giving has a lot of character to it. It's kind of like this Dr. Seuss looking tree, and then you can add like little details such as this to just give it some more character. So like bringing like character into your trees is really, or any kind of environmental thing, is really cool, and a lot of people really love it, and it's a really good way of keeping people in your rooms as well. You can check out a lot of different creative rooms, especially because they do a lot of different things with their trees, so a definite Yes, I'm gonna take a look at my comments right now. Snow and spring. Yeah, we could definitely put some snow on some trees, guys. I've done this before, so like if you did this one, for example, you can go to recolor. And honestly, I still have snow outside my window, sadly. But this is a good way of doing it, and I've shown this in like Maker Pen class too. So if you go ahead and push that in. Go ahead and move this in. And this is like a really good way to add like a really nice snow top to your tree. And you could like add some like really nice angles, just like so, just to give it a nice swooping kind of like snow effect on that. I wouldn't necessarily say that's pretty good. It is good to look at, but if you're building a really large room, I wouldn't necessarily put all these details in the tree. But if you were just like doing it like a small scenery, yeah, I would like put those details in. But if you're doing like a larger room, this is really unnecessary. I'm just gonna tell you that right now, because too much details, like it's all about what you're building in your room. And detail's nice, but functionality and like the way your room performs with multiple people in the room, and if you have too many objects in one room, it's kind of hard for other people to like load in your room. You'll have more complications, so it's best to keep it kind of simple as possible. And I really like encourage players to build like games, stuff that people can relate to and interact with is really great. Yeah, so like that looks really nice. So that's a really way of doing your room. Like tops, trees, and you can even do recolor just to give it some more snow pile effect, right? Yeah, so it looks really nice and artsy, you know? Alright, so that's a good way of adding snow to your tree. Alright, just give me a second, you guys. Do you guys have any other questions at all? Alright, do you guys have any questions at all? Yeah. Nope. Okay, that's great. So after I went over that, someone said, like, how could you make a suit of armor? Well, I can just start off by looking up a suit of armor. Just gonna Google that real quick. Low poly suit of armor. Let's see what we come up with here. we got some good stuff here. Alright, so to build a suit of armor, you guys, because I actually will need a suit of armor in this room, surprisingly, so that actually works out just fine. Go ahead and I'm going to make a block. So what you want to do is like figure out what your body shape is going to be. So I'm going to go into settings, no, I'm going to gadgets, props, dynamic. We want a dummy. A dummy is a really good way of checking this out. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze this. Actually, I'm going to turn him around first. I don't know if you guys know. I don't usually like to create on the dummy. I like to create off the dummy and then merge later. That's how I usually like to do it. I don't know how many of you guys actually created costumes in Rec Room. But basically, what you want is a shape that covers up the full torso, so that if anybody was like wearing something, you don't want them to like show different pieces showing through, right? So basically, the best way to do this, we're gonna go back into edit mode here, manipulate this up. I'm gonna build the collar. It's gonna give me a pretty good starting point for actually creating this piece. Alright. And I'm probably going to try to keep this not too detailed, but I'm going to, because I could go really detailed with this, but that would take up a lot of time, and I know that you guys don't have it, but so I'll try to keep it simple, and if you guys want to follow along, you guys can, and you know, add the details however you guys want to add the details. So basically, what I'm trying to do is add kind of like a collar to the structure here. So I'm just adding a little bit of a collar here. Dip this in. Add vehicles, yeah. Well, you never know. So basically, I'm going to put into the center point to give it more. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up just a little bit, just like so. This is going to be really basic stuff, guys. You can go really into detail on armor, like pretty legit. It's pretty epic when you do it too, and I would recommend doing so, but since I'm doing this on a live stream, I don't recommend doing it. I'm not going to do it, so, because it's a live stream, and it would take me, like, a long time to do that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shorten this a bit. Clone. And basically just trying to draw the structure just a little bit more so. Go. So it's like nice and simple. It looks a little weird right now, but I'm just trying to get the frame of the whole structure started here. Manipulate this way. Okay. Yep. And there's like several different ways you can do this. I'm just gonna do this pretty quick and simple here, and then I'm gonna add some things that might change it a bit. Okay, it's not actually coming out the way that I would like. What I can do is add some details. So I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing, and then I'm going to add some things to make it a little bit different here. This is just going to be the underlying base of the structure, and then I'm going to add some details on top of it to give it more of a actual night effect here. There we go. Probably gonna get rid of this now. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do like a shoulder pad here, but I definitely don't want it to look blocky, so I'm gonna build it off the costume real quick. So giving like this dimension here is gonna help kind of bring out the shoulder pad a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is bring this in just like so. And then what I can do is I can add details to it. By coloring this gold, recolor. I'm gonna go and do recolor on that, manipulate this over. Okay, and then go and I'm just gonna see if I can just grab wrap around the shoulder here. Could wrap. Oof. All right. Might have to go off snap just a little bit. You can see what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to layer in here. Whoops, my bad. Undo move, edit, and then go ahead and delete this. And then I'm going to select and see how this fits. I mean, it's not perfect quite yet, but it's just kind of like a little rough way of going about. Whoops, I didn't grab those. Alright, okay. There we go. Scale this down. Ooh, did not mean to do that. Do move shape. Scale. Okay, definitely want to get it off of this. Scale it down. Move. Go. Alright. And I can probably go in here and like fix all this right now, but right now I'm not going to, because I would have to do that off step. So to do that off step, you just kind of like place them in just a little bit like so. As you can see, it just gets a little bit tedious there. So I'm gonna go ahead and select these items here and then clone them. Trying to give that effect. Alright, I think that's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is take this down. And it looks like a little bit better there. Clone. Probably could make this actually round. Create, go into settings, go into uniform shapes. Scale this down just so slightly. Put this back on snap. There we go. Right. Clone. And then recolor. I'm kind of winging this at the moment, so you could do this a lot of different ways, so I'm not gonna. Alright, you could probably make this whole thing out of cylinders, honestly. I mean, it does take up a lot of space, but it would look really nice. Alright. Alright, so now you can see that it's actually starting to look like armor and not just little metal, some junk on there. So, and the best thing about doing this is like to create like the details. Oh wait, hold on. Alright, there we go. To create the details, it's best to just keep things like adding the trims. I've always said this, trims are great. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Go to recolor. And then recolor gray, just to give it those little effects. And you could do the same thing with the arms as well. So dragging this down, manipulating this down here. Just gonna do the same thing actually. I'm bringing this down a little bit, pushing this up. And then recoloring it gold. Probably push this in a little bit more. Alright, looking pretty good there. Go ahead and check my comments real quick because I haven't checked it in a while. You might say that it's small details, but they're actually really simple. By just adding this like little trims here, like the really simple trims, really bring in that kind of look. But it's actually not a lot of detail. It's surprisingly, like, it looks like it's a lot of detail, but it really isn't. It's really simple to do and adds a lot to your work. If you guys decide to go that route, I would recommend it. It actually doesn't take up that much space. It actually looks really nice. And this is actually still very, very low fidelity here. Like, low fidelity is like low, it's not even, it's not even to the point where it's to actually be a thing yet. But this is just a small way of doing this. Go ahead. You can even add like you can even add let's say we wanted to add, oh wait, hold on, let's see, we want to give this more of a dimension look here, so we could like push that in a little bit here, bring that in just like so. All right. Great. And then I might push this up. And then what you can do here is that you can add details by adding the trim. You can add these as well. And I'm gonna get off snap here and push this in, just like, because I'm not gonna get what I want. So I'm gonna push this in a little bit, try to mesh these groups in. Okay, so you can see how that is doing that route. So it looks a little bit strange right now, but if you go into spheres and we draw out this, I'm going to take this down just a bit, move this over, do a same thing with this one too. This is the cylinders are kind of expensive, so definitely want to use spheres over cylinders, but they would look really nice. So if you you can do like chain mail with these. You can layer the chain mail look here. So yeah, it kind of looks like it's kind of looking like a chainmail there type of thing. ahead and clone. Yep, so it's kind of looking like a little bit like a chainmail type thing. So you could actually do that, but you could do it with spheres, which is actually a lot cheaper. And they do have a little more dimension to them, but cylinders are really nice to use as well. Go ahead and delete that. I don't think there's any such thing of a body armor with chain links at this high, but I'm just trying to give it an example of like how you can use that to create chain links and so forth. So you see, it looks really nice, right? I'm gonna take a look at my comments. The least expensive object is okay, so that did about 45 spheres cost 1%. Like if you use about 45%, so that's 0.1%. So I would say the sphere is cheapest, for sure. Like but they have like a big hitbox on them, so you want to be careful about using them in your terrains. You definitely want to use the cube, because see, like that didn't even take up a 0.%. So like two of those took up two squares took up a 0.1%. So spheres about quite a bit of those, you know, pretty okay, about 3, yeah. But like about 45 of these would take about 1%. So those are actually the cheapest to use. But still want to be careful about how many shapes you're using in a group, because it can crash players. So just be mindful of that. So try to keep everything simple. So if you're like creating a brick wall, for example, the brick wall here. Okay, we can color this gray. Instead of actually making a whole bunch of individual bricks, which actually would take up a lot of time, and not just time, but a lot of space as well, we definitely want to create just a few bricks, and it will still give the same effect. So if I did this, get this out of my way. It looks like kind of like a brick wall. So it's actually pretty easier. It's easier to do. You can even apply other stones to it, like go for this type of stone. And get the kind of like the same kind of like smaller stone effect here. So either one works really well, but just using less shapes in your overall stuff is probably best. I did use a whole bunch of panels for the PSVR Frank's house, but I'm not actually having a lot in this room, so I'm not really worried about how much that's going to take up. I did use a lot of space for the top roof as well. So like you're not going to go into the house. Technically, you could probably go into the house. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a door here, and you're going to go into that door, and it's going to lead you into the house. So it's going to be a separate instance because I really wanted to keep it within all in the same room, but there's just no way, because there's going to be so much detail within the house. It's just going to take up too much space, unfortunately. So we're not going into that direction, but we are, this is, most of this stuff is in the other room right now, but Dead Memes actually did this, and this is really nice. You can go into this experience, like it's the bathroom. He did a really, really good job here. Yeah, it's really good. And then this is actually going to be a fish tank. Yeah, because there's actually going to be a fish in the mirror. The mirror is actually a window. That's actually a fish tank. It's in the Pee Wee Herman adventure. And then in the yard, we're going to have a whole bunch of like PSVRfrank stuff just sitting in the yard. So it's going to be pretty epic. All right, guys. Do you guys have any questions? Because I'm going to take a little bit of I'm going to jump out here pretty soon. I'm glad it's helped you solve a huge problem. Yeah, you don't need to create a whole bunch of bricks. It's just not necessary. It takes up too much space. You can just add a couple of bricks and it really adds some detail. And if you actually, if you're actually having problems too, it's always good to have like, make sure you're putting like, some trims on your, around your shapes as well, because they add a lot of, dimensions here. And if you guys are ever working, go into settings. It's best to work on a 15% grid instead of a rotation snap instead of a 5%, because it's more accurate. You can see that you're more accurate than the 5%. So I always would recommend being at 15% rotation snap and on move shape 0.5 snap. All right. So it does actually add a lot. But if you're going to have a bunch of bricks, if you really want that, I would recommend to only doing that in a small room and not in a big room. It's just too much space. It adds a lot of detail. Make sure you're adding your trim so it looks really nice and framed throughout the whole experience. All right. Yeah. So do you guys have any other questions? I probably can stop by tomorrow actually and give you a couple of pointers. I definitely want to do some straightening up stuff in your map. Just a couple of things I would just like point out, and then we can move forward with that. Probably tomorrow though. I do like turtles. I do like turtles. All right, guys. You guys all have a good one. If you guys want me to visit your rooms, go ahead and mention those in the chat, and I'll take a look a little bit later. And if you guys haven't, you can like and subscribe to the channel. It'll be very much appreciated. Yeah, and hopefully this helped you out. So thank you so much for joining, and I will probably see you in Rec Room, since I'm already in Rec Room right now. So I'll see you guys in Rec Room. And be creative and give it your Rec Room best, guys. Give it your Rec Room best. No mistakes, just happy trees.